Have you ever felt like there's more to you than meets the eye? Do you sometimes wonder if the person you show to the world is really who you are deep inside? These questions touch on a fundamental aspect of human existence, the relationship between our ego and our true self. In this video, we'll explore this complex topic, helping you gain insight into your own mind and potentially change the way you view yourself and the world around you. What exactly is the ego? At its core, the ego is our sense of self, the I that we present to the world. It's the part of us that thinks, feels, and acts in ways that we believe define who we are. The ego shapes our thoughts and actions, often without us even realizing it. It's like an invisible force guiding our decisions, influencing our reactions, and coloring our perceptions of the world around us. In our daily lives, the ego plays a significant role. It's there when we feel proud of our accomplishments, when we defend our opinions, or when we compare ourselves to others. The ego affects our relationships, sometimes causing conflicts when we feel threatened or misunderstood. It impacts our decision-making, often pushing us towards choices that protect or enhance our self-image rather than those that might be best for us in the long run. But here's where things get interesting. The ego isn't our true self. It's more like a mask we wear, a persona we've developed over time. Our true self lies beneath this mask, and it's often quite different from the ego we present to the world. The true self is our essence, the core of who we are, free from the need for external validation or the fear of judgment. So how can we tell the difference between our ego and our true self? The ego is often characterized by a need for control, a desire for recognition, and a tendency to judge or compare. It thrives on external validation and can be easily wounded by criticism. The true self, on the other hand, is marked by a sense of inner peace, authenticity, and compassion. It doesn't need constant affirmation from others because it's secure in its own worth. Understanding where our ego comes from can help us manage it better. The ego begins to form in childhood as we learn to navigate the world around us. Our early experiences, the messages we receive from our parents and caregivers, and the ways we learn to cope with challenges all contribute to shaping our ego. Society also plays a big role in ego formation, influencing our beliefs about what's valuable, what success looks like, and how we should behave. As we grow, the ego develops various defense mechanisms to protect itself. These can include denial, where we refuse to accept uncomfortable truths, projection, where we attribute our own undesirable traits to others, or rationalization, where we make excuses for our behavior. While these mechanisms can provide short-term relief from discomfort or anxiety, they often limit our personal growth and prevent us from seeing ourselves and the world clearly. Living primarily from the ego comes at a cost. It can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and a persistent sense of dissatisfaction. When we're constantly trying to prove our worth or defend our self-image, we miss out on genuine connections with others and authentic experiences of life. The ego's need for control can make us rigid and inflexible, unable to adapt to life's inevitable changes and challenges. Recognizing our true self requires practice and patience. It involves developing self-awareness through techniques like mindfulness and meditation. These practices help us observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them, allowing us to see the difference between our ego's reactions and our deeper, more authentic responses. Our true self often speaks to us in moments of quiet reflection, through our intuition, or in times when we feel fully present and connected to the world around us. There are several tools we can use to manage our ego and connect more deeply with our true self. Mindfulness is a powerful technique that involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. This practice can help us recognize when our ego is driving our thoughts and actions, allowing us to make more conscious choices. Self-reflection exercises, such as journaling or contemplative practices, can also be valuable in gaining insight into our motivations and behaviors. As we learn to align more with our true self, we often experience significant benefits. Relationships tend to improve as we become more authentic and less defensive. We may find a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment in life as we act in accordance with our deepest values rather than external expectations. This alignment can lead to increased resilience, creativity, and overall well-being. One of the biggest challenges in this process is overcoming ego-based fears. The ego often keeps us trapped in patterns of behavior by convincating us that change is dangerous or that we're not capable of growth. Common fears include the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, and the fear of the unknown. Recognizing these fears as products of the ego rather than reflections of reality is the first step in moving past them. We can then challenge these fears gradually, building confidence in our ability to handle new situations and grow beyond our current limitations. Cultivating authenticity is a key part of living from our true self. This involves being honest with ourselves and others about our thoughts, feelings, and needs. It means allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to admit when we're wrong or when we don't have all the answers. Authenticity also involves living in alignment with our values, even when it's challenging or goes against societal expectations. Daily practices that can help foster authenticity include speaking our truth kindly, acting with integrity even in small matters, and regularly checking in with ourselves to ensure our actions align with our deepest beliefs and values. The interplay between ego and true self manifests differently in various areas of our lives. In our careers, the ego might push us to pursue status or financial rewards at the expense of fulfillment, while our true self might guide us towards work that aligns with our values and utilizes our unique gifts. In personal relationships, the ego can create barriers through defensiveness or the need to be right, while our true self allows for vulnerability and genuine connection. In our spiritual growth, the ego might seek experiences or knowledge to feel superior, while our true self approaches spirituality with humility and openness. It's important to remember that managing the ego and connecting with our true self is an ongoing process. It's not about completely eliminating the ego, which serves important functions in our daily life, but about creating a healthy balance. This journey involves continual self-reflection, learning, and growth. There will be setbacks and moments when the ego takes over, but each time we recognize this and realign with our true self, we grow stronger and wiser. As we become more aware of our ego and its influence on our lives, we start to see the world differently. We may notice how ego drives much of human behavior, from personal conflicts to larger societal issues. This awareness can foster compassion for ourselves and others, as we recognize that many harmful or destructive behaviors stem from ego-based fears and insecurities. Learning to differentiate between the voice of the ego and the wisdom of our true self takes time and practice. The ego often speaks loudly and urgently, pushing us to react quickly to protect our self-image. Our true self, in contrast, tends to communicate more subtly, through quiet intuitions, a sense of peace when we're on the right path, or a feeling of alignment when we're living authentically. One powerful way to connect with our true self is through nature. Spending time in natural settings can help quiet the chatter of the ego and allow us to tap into a deeper sense of connection with the world around us. Many people report feeling more centered, peaceful, and in touch with their authentic selves when surrounded by nature. Creativity can also be a powerful tool for accessing our true self. Whether through art, music, writing, or any other form of creative expression, we often bypass the ego's critical voice and connect with a deeper wellspring of inspiration. Creative activities can serve as a form of meditation, allowing us to enter a flow state where we're less focused on our self image and more in touch with our authentic essence. As we work on managing our ego and living more from our true self, we may notice changes in our relationships. We might find ourselves less reactive in conflicts, more able to listen deeply to others without feeling threatened by differing opinions. We may also attract relationships that are more authentic and supportive of our growth as we become more genuine in our interactions with others. One common pitfall in this work is the development of a spiritual ego. This happens when we begin to feel superior to others because of our self-work or spiritual practices. It's important to remember that recognizing and managing the ego is not about becoming better than others, but about living more authentically and compassionately. The process of understanding our ego and connecting with our true self can have profound implications for our mental and emotional health. Many psychological issues, such as anxiety and depression, are often exacerbated by ego-driven thinking patterns. As we learn to observe these patterns without being controlled by them, we can develop greater emotional resilience and a more stable sense of well-being. In our professional lives, understanding the ego can lead to improved leadership skills. Leaders who are aware of their ego's influence can make decisions more objectively, inspire others through authentic behavior, and create work environments that foster creativity and collaboration. They're often better equipped to handle criticism constructively and to admit and learn from mistakes. The journey of self-discovery and ego management can also lead to a shift in our priorities. We might find that things we once thought were crucial to our happiness, such as status, material possessions, or others' approval, become less important. Instead, we may begin to value experiences that bring us joy, relationships that support our growth, and activities that allow us to contribute meaningfully to the world. As we delve deeper into understanding our ego and true self, we often uncover layers of conditioning that have shaped our beliefs and behaviors. This can be a challenging process as we confront aspects of ourselves that we may have been avoiding or unaware of. It's important to approach this exploration with self-compassion, recognizing that our ego developed as a way to protect us and that letting go of old patterns takes time and patience. One powerful practice for connecting with our true self is mindful breathing. By focusing on our breath, we can anchor ourselves in the present moment, creating space between our thoughts and our awareness. This space allows us to observe our ego's reactions without being completely identified with them. Regular practice of mindful breathing can help us respond to life's challenges from a place of greater clarity and authenticity. Another valuable tool in this journey is the practice of self-inquiry. This involves asking ourselves deep questions and sitting with them, allowing answers to emerge from our inner wisdom rather than our habitual thought patterns. Questions like, who am I beyond my roles and achievements? Or, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Can lead to profound insights and help us align more closely with our true self. As we become more attuned to our true self, we may notice changes in how we approach goals and ambitions. Rather than being driven by the ego's need for achievement or recognition, we might find ourselves drawn to pursuits that feel deeply meaningful or that allow us to express our authentic gifts. This shift can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and purpose in our endeavors. The process of unveiling our true self often involves letting go of outdated beliefs, of the need to control outcomes, of attachments to specific identities. This letting go can feel scary to the ego, which seeks security in the familiar. However, as we practice releasing what no longer serves us, we create space for new growth and possibilities to emerge. Understanding the ego can also help us navigate social media and the digital world more mindfully. The ego often gets hooked by the constant feedback and comparison inherent in social media platforms. By recognizing when we're seeking validation through likes or followers, we can choose to engage with these tools in ways that support our well-being rather than feeding our ego's insecurities. As we progress on this journey, we may experience moments of profound connection with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. These experiences, sometimes called peak experiences or moments of flow, often occur when our ego's usual chatter has quieted, allowing us to be fully present in the moment. These experiences can serve as powerful reminders of our true nature and inspire us to continue our work of self-discovery. It's worth noting that the relationship between our ego and our true self isn't about good versus bad. The ego plays important roles in our lives, helping us navigate the practical aspects of daily existence. The goal is not to eliminate the ego, but to develop a healthy relationship with it, to use it as a tool rather than being controlled by it. This balanced approach allows us to engage effectively with the world while staying connected to our deeper truth. As we conclude this exploration of the ego and the true self, it's important to remember that this is a lifelong journey. There's no finish line to cross, no point at which we can say we've completely figured it all out. The beauty lies in the ongoing process of discovery, in the moments of insight and growth, in the gradual unfolding of our authentic selves. Each step we take towards understanding our ego and connecting with our true self has the potential to positively impact not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us. As we become more authentic, compassionate, and aligned with our deeper values, we naturally inspire others to do the same. In this way, our personal growth contributes to the collective evolution of human consciousness. So, as you move forward from this video, we encourage you to approach your own journey of self-discovery with curiosity and compassion. Notice the ways your ego shows up in your daily life. Practice connecting with your true self through mindfulness, self-reflection, and authentic expression. Remember that every moment offers an opportunity to choose between reacting from the ego and responding from your deeper wisdom. The path of understanding the ego and unveiling the true self is not always easy, but it is infinitely rewarding. It leads to a life of greater authenticity, deeper connections, and a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. As you continue on this path, know that you're not alone. Millions of people around the world are engaged in this same exploration, each in their own unique way. Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. May your path be filled with insight, growth, and the joy of unveiling your true self.